Hello, beautiful men of YouTube. My name is Emily. Welcome here. This is my third video in a new playlist series that I'm doing called The Art of Loving Women Well. And in the first video, we talked all about women's menstrual cycles and how understanding your woman's flow will assist you in ways that you couldn't even imagine for the better. In the second video, we discussed how women have different nervous systems than men and that they need to feel safe in order to create oxytocin. And we talked about kind of what the adult entertainment industry is teaching men how to move in the bedroom, and how actually that's not at all what will really make your woman happy. Because, and I think that a lot of women actually don't even know this either, society has so programmed women to be like squeezing their pelvic floors all the time. I am a Pilates instructor, so I know the amount of effort that women put into keeping the pelvic floor nice and tight. And it's important that it is tight, but it's also deeply important that it can relax. Because ladies, if you're watching, when you're having intercourse with a man and you're squeezing, you're actually squeezing your cervix up rather than letting it come down. And the body needs to feel in this like oxytocin state for that magical, what shall we call the cervix? We shall call her the magical ring of fire, to be willing, because indeed men, the cervix does need to be willing. The cervix is the gatekeeper to the womb. Unless you can make the cervix happy, you will never understand the fullness of what the womb offers. So that's what we talked about in video 2. Now, the title I received for today's video when I first began to bring through the message was Slow and Steady. Slow and steady wins the race, okay? Slow and steady wins the race. And interestingly, what this message, I think, ultimately is teaching men to come into greater understanding about, because this is meant to be completely educational, is this little term, emotional safety. Because women need emotional safety. And in a past life, really this life, my pen's gone away. I used to, well, I still am, kind of. I got a undergraduate degree in psychology. And so I'm going to be sharing with you what is scientifically needed in a psychological way for any human being, but particularly women, as they are deeply emotional, sensitive beings, to have in order for you to have success and, yeah, love women really well. Okay, here we go. So, first I heard we are learning divine aptitude in relating. And then I heard look up the etymology. So of course I looked up the etymology of aptitude, and apt means to fasten, and tude comes from a term relating to bravery. So it's like to fasten bravery. We think of, that's just a little different than the way we think of the modern day word aptitude, which is like to be really good at something, to be like proficient and to do well, etc. So we're learning this divine aptitude for relating with the feminine energy in our own selves, like, because all men have a feminine essence, and also within embodied females. Now, I'm sure that what I'm teaching is possibly true of homosexual relating, although I, Emily, am really talking about heterosexual relating, because there are purposeful and also stark differences between embodiments. And this is something that, as we go on our awakening journey, we learn to really understand our unique embodiment and a deeper understanding of why we chose to be female or male, and the birthrights that come with being female versus the birthrights that come with being male, and how they are, no one is better than the other. They are equal, but just quite a lot different. And we've lost some of that understanding about the difference. So the first thing that came up here was, when you're relating with women in this way of creating emotional safety for them, you want to think flow, not force. Okay, now flow is interesting. It's something I've studied deeply, and I have kind of I'll just call it a knack. I have a knack for being able to enter really deep flow states, but this is not something that necessarily came naturally, although I don't think it was unnatural. It's just I've spent many, many years practicing entering flow states through creating art and writing and channeling, etc. So I know a lot about what flow is from an embodied perspective. Now, I think is it Hawkins? What's his name? That book, Power versus Force, where it really teaches you that what you want to work from is the power, because there is only one power in all of creation, that divine source power. Okay, so forcing something is like trying to put your personal will onto it and to try to make it happen and to try to, like, you know, put a bunch of effort in. And when we're really in our power, we're more in like a flow state where we're just allowing the divine source creator to play us like a instrument and to move and kind of, what is it like? It's like being fully, I think the word might be subsumed, but I can't even really think in this moment what that really means. So I don't know if that's the correct word. But like being brought into, like you're being brought into this divine flow. And that was the first thing I'm supposed to mention. Flow, not force. Okay? And there is a difference between being aligned with what is truly powerful and what is forcing something to happen. And this is the thing about people who, like leaders of the not so free world, like leaders of the free world, they are yoked, anointed, initiated within the divine hierarchical realms of pure source creator energy. Leaders of the not so free world are trying to get power, usually from female bodies, because they actually do know about the power of the womb, and they don't have the power that they need, so they try to steal and siphon it in ways that are not loving, and that has to change on our planet. Okay, so this next point is about safe leadership. All right, now, really, men, you are the leaders of the planet. You are the third dimensional, grounded leaders. As John Wineland always says, men are the masters of time and space. And you have this resourcefulness to you. Even the way your nervous system is calibrated, down to the way you make your hormones, it sets you up to be leaders of the world. You are here to lead in the physical third dimensional realm. Women and your feminine aspect, because again, you do have that part in you. Feminine leadership is more of a flow archetypal leadership. And I think I'm going to place in here a little clip by Sarah L. Candy for you to watch.
Nonlinear energy. It's the nonlinear magical quantum field. The quantum field was known as what weird came from. Weird is a Celtic term for loom and the fates. And so, what were the fates? They were 3 goddesses of fate or personal destiny. So, what does that mean if they were these 3 goddesses that had loom or fates? That's the quantum field. That is what we would consider today the quantum field, and that's what the feminine energy is. It's nonlinear energy. It's the nonlinear magical quantum field. So because it's this pure potential and it's psychic, that energy is less definable. It's less able to be cut and clear. So it's harder to be able to perceive as something linear. And if we need to wrap our heads around something and the quantum field don't make no sense, then that's weird. Get it? You see, that's odd. And that's what...
Okay, so female leadership, females, it's really their responsibility to lead from a spiritual perspective. And it's their responsibility to be so finely attuned with their intuitive faculties within their actual physical body in a way that is pure, natural, organic, true, authentic, original, and truly divine. And when you come into partnership with a woman, you need to understand that for her to be able to be in her true leadership power, which is very different than masculine leadership, but also has its place, a woman needs to feel a sense of emotional safety. Okay, so there is a specific psychology of what emotional safety is. So this is what I'm showing you here is scientifically studied in the need of belonging. Like, all humans need emotional safety. Okay, this is not just for women, although women are going to feel this differently and more sensitively, and so therefore you need to be attuned that because women's emotional bodies are, if we believe the ancient Vedic texts, 11 times more sensitive to emotional spiritual energies, then women especially need this in order to feel safe. Okay, and to feel like they belong. And in fact, when any of these 4 things is missing, women will not feel safe, they will not feel emotionally safe, and they will not feel like they belong in your life or wherever they're not getting this. And they're flowing beings, and so they will realize that they have to go elsewhere, right, in order to feel safe emotionally. All right, so what we're talking about here is in studies of science that look at what people need for emotional safety and friendship. Now, hopefully you want to be friends with your woman, and romance is a little bit different, and I will tell you which one of these needs to be switched up if you want more of a romantic emotional safety. All right, so the first thing is that to feel emotional safety, women and men, but we're talking about women, they need conversations, interactions, and relating that is frequent. Okay, now every woman is different. It's your job to know what your woman likes, how much space she needs, how much alone time she likes. I personally like more alone time than the average woman because I have a very fulfilled inner creative life that I need that to explore. But depending on your woman, this is going to be very different. So what frequent is and what frequent isn't for your personal relationship, that is something that you need to have the conversation and understand about your beautiful woman. And yeah, but frequency is important. It's like What makes people feel like, okay, I'm safe here. I'm safe enough that I can relax. Okay. Next, these conversations, interactions, and relatings, they need to feel stable. Okay, now this is where men and women really are different. The word I'm seeing in my third eye is differentiate, but I could not get that out of my mouth. Okay. This is what feels stable to a male nervous system is quite a bit different than what feels stable to a woman's nervous system, right? Again, women have more emotional sensitivity, so they need greater levels and depths of emotional safety. So again, this is like talk to your woman, but you really need to realize what feels like stability and how you as the masculine counterpart can provide and protect that stability. And as friends, right? Because this is the one, well, actually, yeah, let's go there. This is the one with romance that can be kind of like I'm seeing like the fire being put out. Stability is important in your friendship relating, but you got to strike the balance, right? It's all about the balance, because in romance, you actually need novelty. This is really, really important. To keep Eros alive, novelty, right? So how do you strike the balance between providing stability and also bringing novelty to your relating? And that is what will take something from a friendship level into more of a romantic, energetic between the two polarities, masculine and feminine. Okay, now the third thing for emotional safety to be felt is that these interactions need to be positive, right? We need to have conversations, interactions, and relating that leaves us feeling good, or at least not depleted, not sucked dry, not siphoned from, not sad. Like, we need to like leave interactions and feel like, oh, that was like a positive thing. And again, men need this too, absolutely. So this is just an important thing when building emotional safety in any relationship that you're a part of. And lastly, meaningful. And I think this one is really important for women, and I think it's probably important for any man that would be investing time in watching this video and cares about loving women well on this planet. But there is a meaningfulness that comes from relating and interacting and being together that, you know, I love relating and relationships because I've always really felt and experienced in all of my relationships that there is a unique, one of a kind, cannot be replicated interaction, energetic flow dynamic between myself and any person I am relating with. And it is that, I think that's what's so fun for me personally about having all different types of friendships. And I honestly enjoy having friendships with like such a large array of human beings. I know some people like, you know, they only feel maybe safe with like a certain person or archetype, but I myself I have friends that are of all walks of life, and I really enjoy that. But there's a meaningfulness to each of my relationships because it's just one of a kind. Like, there is nothing like that energetic flow that you can create between you and a person. And so, yeah, the meaning, of course, we have to make the meaning. That's like the number one poetic lesson for any human being, is that, you know, once one of my good friends, and he's kind of like a mentor more in my poetry life, he's the poet James Metz, and he said to me, well, I don't care what people think my poems mean. All I care is that they make a meaning. And yeah, we are responsible for the meanings we make through our relating and interactions, but it is important that they, I think, are meaningful to the heart when we're talking about emotional safety for women. Okay, so that is what safe leadership is all about. All right, now the next thing that I'm here to talk about is the importance of truth when loving women well. Okay, as complicated as your truth may be, it is very, very important to tell the truth and to tell all the layers of it. So like, you know, we are complex, complicated humans, right? So when we tell the truth, we need to tell it and express it on all levels: the spiritual truth of our experience, the emotional truth of our experience, the mental truth, you know, and the physical truth. And integrating and becoming in our divine aptitude and really learning to lead this world into a better place, right? The peaceful earth, the new earth. It's going to require men and women to come together and to be able to tell the truth of what is. And it is if it is, and it isn't if it isn't. That's just, there is such thing as truth, and it has many different layers, but you've got to be able to tell the truth. I think that's how we start becoming correctly magnetic or polarized. This isn't what I plan to talk about, but I will speak it here briefly, is, you know, we want to be polarized. And as we come more in alignment with God's source, we start to really emanate and embody and shine forth and radiate our unique polarity. And anything that has a strong polarity is both magnetic and draws unto it, which is a match to it, and repels things that are not a match. And so generative polarity between male and female is really an important thing, because it allows, when we come into truth and authenticity, then what is truly authentic will come forth. But until that moment, it's just a masking, or it's a delusion, or it's just not what is truly sane and true. Okay. Okay, and then how important it is to create trust, right? You know, and every person's different. Trust has been a really difficult thing for me this life. And I would suspect it's been a difficult thing for a lot of women. And so, you know, women are, they are beings that love to love, and they love to give, and they, you know, a lot of people think women are weak because they are kind and because they are generous and because they are soft. Hopefully the world's changing, that truly kindness and that type of thing isn't seen as weakness, but so often it is. And yeah, I can't tell you how many times my kindness has been taken advantage of by people who really did see my kindness as weakness and took advantage of it. The fish agrees. Trusting someone is something that happens slowly and over time, right? It's not something that happens all at once. And there are levels and layers to building trust, but it's a powerful thing. And when it's broken, it's something that requires a lot of hard work and effort to make up once it's broken, if it can ever be made up. And I've had 2 relationships, one with a man that I was in a relationship with for 10 years, and then another with a really close friend. Both included just horrible breaches of trust at the end. And yeah, especially with my girlfriend, I really didn't see that one coming. I think I was like the most vulnerable I had ever been in any relationship, actually, in that relationship, and it ended in a very deep and painful way. And so building trust is something that just, yeah, some women are going to be slower to trust, and other women are going to be able to trust more easy. But again, this is about realizing that we need to treat women better. We need to like love our women better on this planet. Because when we have women that are fully embodied in their very unique divine femininity, you guys, it's gonna be such a beautiful future. It's gonna be such a beautiful future. And yeah, so getting back to the original title of what came through this to be called, when it comes to building powerful trust, slow and steady wins the race. And I do have a light code for this, but I have something on the page that I would like to keep private, so I'm going to try to show you it, but like this. Okay, that is the end of the message. If you stayed all the way to the end, always appreciating a thumbs up so more guys can watch. And yeah, I hope you're having a beautiful and wonderful day, and that you had a very happy 4th of July if you're living here in America. Much love.